So, first of all, the Finance Commission is a constitutional body. It is appointed by the President of India under provisions of the Constitution of India. Its mandate is to make recommendations on how the union finances should be shared between the central government and the state governments, and then how should the state governments share in those taxes should be divided among the 28 states of the country. To give you a little more detail on that, in the Indian Federation, even though the expenditures are incurred quite substantially by the state governments, taxes, a large part of the tax revenues are legislated and collected by the central government. And that creates an imbalance between the revenues collected by states themselves and their expenditure needs. Some taxes are collected by the states. The major ones include the state GST, excise on liquor, and also the sales tax on the petrol and petrol products. Then there are some, vehicle taxes and stamp duty, etc. also, but these are the major ones. These taxes go directly to the states. A lot of the other bigger taxes like the income tax, corporation profit tax, the custom duties, these are all collected by the central government. These are also legislated by the central government. In addition, there is the central GST, which also is part of this. So these taxes, all the union taxes except cesses and surcharges and taxes belonging to the union territories, go in a pool called the divisible pool. This divisible pool is what gets divided between the central government and the state governments. So first task of the Finance Commission is to make recommendation as to what percentage of the divisible pool should go to the states and what percentage should go to the central government. 15th Finance Commission's recommendation was that 41% of this divisible pool should go to the states and the remaining 59% to the central government. Now, and then certain criteria such as population, meaning each state's share in the total national population, each state's share in the national area, total area, that income differences, so number of criteria are used to then divide the state's 41% share among the 28 states. Okay. Now, so that's one big task of the Commission. Then the Commission also makes recommendations on certain grants to the local urban bodies and local rural bodies. These grants come from out of the central government's budget. These are not part of the divisible pool. Also, the Commission is asked to make recommendations on disaster relief and disaster management. So these also come from the central government's budget, and sometimes the commissions also make additional state-specific or sector-specific grants. So these are the main areas in which the Commission makes recommendations to the central government, after which the central government takes action. Past history has been that as far as the division of tax revenues is concerned, meaning what is called the vertical devolution, how the central-state division takes place, and the horizontal devolution, which is how the state's share is divided among the states. Those recommendations uniformly have been accepted in the past when made by all the past 15 commissions. in grants, the central government may take a view. Generally, they have been accepted, but not always. So this is where it is. Our job today here has been to consult a large number of stakeholders within the state of Sikkim. The Commission has been visiting all states. Sikkim is the 16th such state, so we have still 12 states left to visit in the next few months. We also consult very widely with the central government, so ministries of the different ministries with the central government come in and make their presentations. We consulted all the chairmen of the past 4 commissions, and we also consult with the experts, eminent persons. It's a very wide consultation process. And towards the end, our mandate will, meaning the Commission's life is until the end of October 2025, by which point we would have made our recommendations and submitted them to the President of India. So much of the decision making happens once the consultation has been completed. This is where we stand. Now, just about today's consultation, our big meeting was with the Chief Minister, some of the members of his cabinet, and senior officials. That is a meeting which lasted close to about 3 hours. The Chief Minister gave a wide-ranging speech himself. Then there was a long presentation made by the Chief Administrator of Sikkim, and that presentation, among other things, described the finances of Sikkim government, how the Sikkim government sees the Sikkim economy unfold during the award period of our commission. 16th Commission's award period is 2026, 27 to 2030-31. It's a 5-year period. And until then, up to 2025-26, 15th Finance Commission's recommendations will be in force. The presentation also described in detail the finances of Sikkim state and how the state sees them unfold over the award period of the 16th Finance Commission. Cut the long story short, the main recommendations of the Sikkim government have to do with how they would like the 16th Finance Commission to do its devolution, both vertical and horizontally. So on the vertical devolution, the state's recommendation was that instead of keeping the current divisible pool as the one that is divided between the central and the states, it argued that the entire revenue receipts of the central government should become shareable between the central and the states. Now, and 40% of that should be devolved to the states. Now, currently under the Constitution, that is not permissible. The Constitution allows the division of the revenues only from the taxes in the way I described to you earlier. So the government recognized that fact and said that if all revenues of the central government cannot be made shareable, then from the current divisible pool as currently defined, the share of the states should be raised from 41% to 50%. Okay, so that is their recommendation on the vertical devolution. This is also a recommendation which has been almost uniformly made by all the other states that we have visited, with maybe 1 or 2 exceptions. Generally, every state is saying that it is that the share of the states be raised to 50%. On horizontal devolution, the state of Sikkim gave a different a slightly different set of criteria than the ones that were given by the 15th Finance Commission. And what I will do very quickly is to tell you what the 15th Finance Commission recommended and what the Sikkim government's recommendation is. So, population has been generally there among the criteria for virtually all the commissions, though the weight given might vary. So, 15th Finance Commission had said that 15% of the divisible pool should be devolved based on population, or 15% of the share of the state should be divided among the 28 states based on population. What that means is, whatever it happens to the divisible pool, you take 15% of that and then look up what is the share of Sikkim in the total Indian population, and that much then is devolved to Sikkim, and likewise for other states. So population is one of the criteria. Similarly, area has been one of the criteria, and 15th Finance Commission had recommended a 15% weight on area. The Sikkim government's recommendation is that 20% that the share of population weight in population be increased from 15 to 20%. On area, it should be raised from 15 to 40%. Then the third criterion that has been used traditionally, including by the 15th Finance Commission, is income distance. Basically, now this is a little bit technical, so I'll describe it in a very simple way. That basically what the income distance criterion tries to do is devolve more to the states which are poorer. States which have lower per capita income get more, states with a higher per capita income get less. So 45% of the divisible pool, 45% the share of the states was allocated based on this criterion by the income distance criterion by the 15th Finance Commission. The Sikkim state's recommendation is that we reduce to that we reduce from 45 to 25%. Sorry, I misspoke on area, by the way. On area I said 40%, but it's only 20%. So Sikkim's recommendation is to raise area, weight of area from 15 to 20%. I misspoke to say 40%. Income distance I said 25%, reduced from 45%. Then the Sikkim government introduced another new criterion. It suggested that GSDP contribution, how much each state has contributed to GSDP, meaning to the GDP of the country. So you can see that generally a richer state with high per capita income will benefit from this criteria. And Sikkim being the state with highest per capita income stands to benefit from that criteria. So this is a new criterion suggested by the Sikkim government and suggested a weight of 10% on that criterion. Forest, this criterion has not been used before by any of the past commissions. Forest cover is the fifth criterion, which was used also by the 15th, and they gave a weight of 10% to that criterion. The Sikkim government's recommendation is that that should be increased to 20%. And that is because obviously Sikkim has a fairly substantial forest cover. And finally, there is a new criterion suggested by Sikkim, one more. So this is the second new criterion that they have suggested, which is the Sustainable Development Goals. Obviously, this was not there in the 15th, and 5% weight is to be recommended by Sikkim government on the Sustainable Development Goals. Now the effect of this, what will be the effect of this? Under the 15th Finance Commission, Sikkim had received 0.388% of the total divisible pool. And Sikkim's calculation is that if these new criteria that Sikkim has suggested are used, then Sikkim's share will practically double to 0.72%. So from 0.388% it will double to 0.72%. And then there were some recommendations on the local body grants and or disaster relief grants, but we can take them up if you have questions on that. So that is we then also did the consultation by the way with the trade and industry bodies, with the rural local bodies, urban local bodies, and trade and industry groups. One of the major, theme that seems to come through in most consultations has to do with connectivity within Sikkim. That connectivity is a major issue, and the Commission should do something to help the state overcome this particular problem. So, floor is open for questions.
So, my name is Vishnu Depani, editor online Khabar Patrika. So I have two questions. Sir, you are aware of the facts that the Sikkim was badly hit by blizzard outburst in 2023, and last year was cut off for almost 4 months due to the rainfalls and landslides from the main streams. During these 2 years, Sikkim badly affected the economic aspects. Sure. Is there any plans to overcome the loss of the state basis in the last 2 years? And my second question is, what are the plans and suggestions from the finance commissions to the hill state like Sikkim, which has very limited scope of sustainable development in terms of industrial sector? What you suggest for restructuring the improvement of physical health?
Of physical?
Health. Physical health.
Of physical health. So on the disaster relief, what has occurred at last year is effectively covered by the 15th Finance Commission. Now, the 16th will also make its recommendations on disaster relief, and the only way it can be of help to Sikkim is that sometimes, well, at least in the 15th, there was an index used by the 15th Finance Commission, DRI, Disaster Relief Index, and many states have said that some of the disasters to which they are subject are not included in that index. If that is the case with Sikkim also, that's something we can try to address. Our limitation on that normally is that any new criterion within that index that we include, credible data will have to be available on all the states, because unless those data are available, we cannot meaningfully incorporate that. So that's the way in which hopefully some consideration will happen. But the specific episode that has happened in the past, that will have to be covered by. And the second, what was your second question?
My second question was, what are the plans and the suggestions?
Yeah, so in general, on fiscal health, the Commission will make some more general recommendation and some perhaps state-specific recommendations as well. What they will be, that we will have to wait and see. But this is an area in which the Commission does actually make some recommendations.
Sir, to a layman, 15 Finance Commission.
Please introduce yourself.
So my name is Vijay Guru. I represent Sikkim Express. As I was saying, the Finance Commission is a big issue for the major issue for the people of Sikkim because they do not exactly understand the integrity of finance commission. But the people of Sikkim do understand that in the past 3-4 decades, they have given a lot to the nation in terms of green security, in terms of sustainable development, and in terms of energy security through hydropowers. But in this journey, we are about to reach 50 years of becoming the state of India. In this 50 years of journey, the people of Sikkim have given a lot to the nation in terms of, as I said, sustainable development and increasing the forest cover, protecting the environment. And Sikkim is a model state for the nation on various fronts. So, but at the same time, a lot of compromises have been made in terms of they are not going for massive industrialization, they are not going for big structures.
Yes.
And
Can
so
you get to the
question
question?
would be, if the Finance Commission can, take some special measures to compensate the people of Sikkim in this regard for the work they have been doing in environment front for the past 5 decades.
As you know, I spelled out the various criteria that are used for the devolution, right? And among them, you have the, for example, forest cover, which is a part of sustainable development, and that's very handsomely rewarded by the Finance Commissions. In the current criteria that Sikkim has suggested, they have said, contribution to the GDP. There also Sikkim is making contribution by, it is the state with the highest per capita income. So if that's our commission in the end, and it includes that, then that will be another way. Even SDGs have also been suggested by the Sikkim government. So it is through these criteria that each state is rewarded. So any state-specific criteria, the commission cannot consider. The criteria have to be ones that can be used across all states, and that is what the commission does. And one of the major ones, of course, which is part of the constitutional mandate of equity across states, meaning that citizens of different states should be able to receive public services at a similar level. It's not always the identical level, but somewhat. And that of course means that the commission also has to carry with it the states which are poorer and are unable to raise enough of their own revenues. And this is where the income distance criterion becomes very important. So ultimately, the commission's work is based on overall national interest of the country.
So my name is Susan Pradhan. It's not working and loud enough. Okay. Good evening. My name is Susan Pradhan. I am representing India today. And so my question is that, what are your observations? In Sikkim, many rumors are there, many assumptions are there. Financial health is not good in state. So what are your observations on this? And secondly, what suggestion do you recommend to the state government?
So I will not comment on that right now, because whatever our assessment is will be done once all the consultation is over. And what are our recommendations specifically to Sikkim on financial health, etc. also will be part of the report. So right now, if you want to read, you have to go and read the 15th Finance Commission report, what they said. But our report will become available only in October 2025, in October of this year. Let me take this last question.
नॉर्थ ईस्ट का टीवी चैनल से मेरा 2 क्वेश्चन है। एक, सिक्किम का कनेक्टिविटी का इशू एक बहुत बड़ा इशू है सिक्किम का। इस पर कोई आप लोगों को रिकमेंडेशन स्टेट गवर्नमेंट की ओर से आज मिला है कि नहीं, वो जानना चाहते हैं। और दूसरा, क्लाइमेट चेंज एंड डिजास्टर एक बहुत बड़ा चैलेंज है। और अभी जो 2023 का जो ग्लेशियर आउटब्रेक का बाद साइंस एंड टेक्नोलॉजी डिपार्टमेंट ने एक सर्वे किया था कि 9 ग्लेशियर लेक भी अभी पर्टिकुलर स्टेज पर है। उसको लेकर कोई रिकमेंडेशन आप लोगों को मिला है?
Sorry, I didn't follow your last second part.
ग्लेशियर लेक का जो बात है, जो अभी पर्टिकुलर स्टेज में है, 9 ग्लेशियर लेक, पहले का जैसा इंसिडेंट हो सकता है, साइंस एंड टेक्नोलॉजी डिपार्टमेंट का ऐसा एक रिपोर्ट है, उसको लेकर कोई क्लाइमेट चेंज को लेकर या ग्लेशियर लेक को लेकर कोई आप लोग
And what was the first question?
Connectivity issue.
Connectivity. So connectivity I have already said, right? That is an issue that came up personally in every meeting today. And that's something we'll think over. Once again, as I said, that doing anything specifically related to the state can only be done through some sort of grant, which is a central government grant. It comes from the budget of the central government. And on that we will think about, mainly because for individual states issues, one is trying to then take it out of the central government's budget, which also has its own expenditure priorities. So sometimes even the central government may not honor that sort of recommendation. But anyway, this is an issue. We are well aware of it. The commission is sensitized to it, so we will look at and see what may be the pathway to do it. On the issue of glaciers, I'm not quite sure exactly what it is. If anybody else wants to say something. This was, what happened in 2023 was discussed, but at least, we heard nothing about the, what this report you're mentioning about the other glaciers, etc. So we haven't heard about it.
Actually, 9 glacier जो लेक है, बहुत सारे लेक्स हैं, इसमें 9 glacier में कभी डेंजर सिचुएशन में है, वैसा जो 2023 का जैसा सिचुएशन सिक्किम में फिर से हो सकता है, ऐसा रिपोर्ट आया है साइंस एंड टेक्नोलॉजी डिपार्टमेंट की ओर से, कुछ इस पर आज चर्चा हुई कि
उस विषय में हमारी चर्चा नहीं